and Dan Carlin, all of the guidance staff. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. We're going to go over the college planning information night. Go to the next slide. We're going to talk about what we're planning on accomplishing today. First of all, we're going to go over the college application timeline, all the things that we've been doing with the students in the classroom over the last week, what parents should be doing, what students should be doing, what the counselor role is, and of course, discussing the financial aid process. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session so we can be sure to answer any questions you may have. All right, so what's happening now? Right now, we started going into the classrooms during the English classes. The guidance counselors have gone in. We kind of gave them an overview of what the college application process is, including having everybody create a common app account and making sure that they're able to get into their Naviance account as well, and matching the two. It's important that those get matched so that way we can send the transcripts and letters of recommendation to the colleges that the students are applying to. Next we have one-on-one meetings. All of the students, the guidance counselors are going to follow up with all of the students with one-on-one meetings. The students can actually sign up for their own meetings now. This is a new thing. We sent out emails to all the students. They get a link to our calendar and they can sign up for a time that's convenient for them. And what I like to point out is they don't have to sign up for one meeting. They can come back whenever they want. They have full control of when they want to meet with us. We encourage students to obviously come during their study hall or homeroom or a time when they're not in an academic or an elective class. Next, we have college rep visits. We have a ton of colleges that are coming to Marshfield High School. This is in addition to the college fair that we're having next week. We have, how many, 70?
Over 80 colleges coming to the Tuesday college fair. Yeah.
That'll be on Tuesday the 24th?
Yeah.
The 24th. So that's great. But in addition to that, college reps will still be coming to Marshfield High School. There's a whole bunch of dates. They're available in Naviance, and the students can just register right in there and come and meet with the counselor one-on-one. Well, you know, pretty small group. And ask questions and learn more about the college. It's a great way to meet with a rep and get more information. In addition, we have, we'll get more in detail into all of this information that's here now. And just so you guys know too, this slide will be posted on the website, and I'm going to email it to everybody so that way all the links that are in here you'll have access to. So just want to make you guys all know that. We have a mass Edco FAFSA night. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, and we'll get into more detail about that. But that is a great event for everybody who's going to be doing financial aid. And in addition to that, MIFA does a bunch of different webinars, so I put the link onto that as well in case the Mass Code night doesn't work for you. There's other avenues that you can go down. Next. So this is a list of reps that we have coming. This has grown and will continue to grow right through December. Since I typed that, more colleges have been added. So I highly recommend that the students log into their Naviance account. It's right there on the home page, and all they need to do is click to register, and they'll get a pass to come down to guidance for the visit. Next, college list. This is a huge important part of the college application process. It's really important that parents take a look at which colleges students are applying to, making sure the list is feasible. I mean, you know, I meet with students who put University of Hawaii down. We all like to go there, but it's important to have those conversations, like, is this feasible? Can we do the flights? Can we manage the cost of all of this? So it's really important to have those conversations with your kids and the kids with the parents to make sure it is something that's feasible. Next, the guidance counselor input. It's important for us to be able to sit down with the students and make sure that they're applying to a good blend of colleges. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of like a target, a reach school, and a safety school. So this shows right here the balance that we're looking for. So typically students would apply to about 8 colleges. It changes from student to student. I've seen kids apply to 25, which I think is a little excessive. And I've seen kids apply to 4 or 5. In that list, you want to make sure, and that's something that we all focus on, that every student has a safety school, and that's a college that you're definitely going to get into. You're sure you're going to. Their acceptance rate is typically more than 75%. The target school is a school that you're pretty solid, you're pretty certain, but you're not gonna you wouldn't bet all your money on that. And a reach school, that's a school that you might really, really want to go to, but it's very competitive and you're not 100% sure if you're going to get into. And it's good, you know, sometimes we look at colleges and, you know, we'll label it as a reach. It doesn't mean we don't think you should apply. It just means you want to have that target and safety as well. So this is an example of a scattergram. Every student has access to this in Naviance. So when a student goes into Naviance and they put a college and they click on the college, they can go over to the scattergram section. I tried to put the arrow there so you can see. It was kind of hard to see. This is UMass Amherst. So all those marks, the red X's, the green checks, the purple circles, that all represents students from Marshfield High School that have applied to UMass Amherst since we've had Naviance. And the blue little circle that's hard to see, that represents the student here. And that's based on their current GPA and their SAT scores. So every time a student takes an SAT, we get a file, we upload it to Naviance, so that way they can take a look at this. If they haven't taken their SATs, usually their PSAT score is in there. And this is how a student and a parent can sit down and decide, is this a target, a safety, or a reach school? I would say for this, I would call it a target. I wouldn't call it a safety, and I wouldn't call it a reach. I would call it a target just based on where that student falls in there. But this is such a great way to kind of gauge. And of course, whenever, you know, this is something that we do with our students too. We want to make sure that we see a safety school for all of our students. And this is also a view of Naviance. So I really like this because the student can put in all their colleges, which once they match it to Common App syncs with Naviance and all their colleges will upload in here. But it's a nice way to view all the important information that you need to know. First, it lists the colleges. The student will indicate when they want to apply, whether they want to do early action, regular, early decision, which we'll get more into that in a minute. It'll show you which application. The CA means all those colleges take the Common App. You can see I have MIT in there. They do not take the Common App, and that's why it's like a little blank screen right there. And what that means is the student would need to go to their website and fill out their application. On our side of Naviance for the counselors, we have a program called eDocs, and that's how we send all of the letters of recommendation and the transcripts. They all get sent to the colleges through that program. Even if the college doesn't take the Common App, we still send it electronically through Naviance. So if a student is applying to a college that's not on the Common App, they would just have to go into Naviance and add that college. Hope that makes sense. And it also shows here the deadlines for all of the colleges, which is nice because when the teachers log in to write letters of recommendation, they can also see the deadlines and when those letters need to be in. And then a student will complete a transcript request form, turn it into their guidance counselor, and they can actually log into Naviance and see under that office materials and see when things have been sent. It'll say sent once they've been sent. So, I mean, students can always come down to guidance and just ask, or they can log in and just check to see. Something that students often get confused by, the letters of recommendation are loaded up in Naviance, but they cannot see them. They're not supposed to see them, and in fact, when students match their Common App to Naviance, they fill out what's called the FERPA waiver, and what that does is we recommend that students waive their rights, and what that does is it allows the colleges to use the letters of recommendation for the admission process, because what you're agreeing to is not seeing those letters of recommendation. And that's for obvious reasons, because they want the teacher to feel free to write what they want. And just to make you feel better, they always write great things, so you don't have to worry. All right, so this is admission requirements. This is basically, in a nutshell, what colleges are looking for. They look at your academic performance. That's your transcript, your grades. They look for growth. They want to see if you had a tough 9th grade year. They want to see that academic growth to 10th grade, to 11th grade. Those are all good things. They want to see that you have taken advantage of the curriculum, the courses that we offer here at our school. Did you challenge yourself? If you floated through level 2 classes and got straight A's the whole way, it may not show that you challenged yourself. Maybe you should have moved up to level 1 or level 0. Next, standardized test scores. That's kind of, up in the air right now because some colleges don't even require them. And I did put a link there to fairtest.org. You can go to that link and you can see all the colleges that no longer require SATs. There's quite a few, so what we recommend is, it's not a bad idea to take the test and see how you do. And if you don't like your scores, don't send them if you don't have to. If you do like your scores, I would send them because it does open up more opportunities for things like scholarships, merit money. SAT scores can help that. And if you're not sure if you want to send your SAT scores or not, just consult us. We can certainly help and make a plan. Extracurricular activities are super important. Colleges like to see students that are active in their school and community, because that means that they're going to be active on their school and community, and that's what colleges want. They want to see students not do a million things. You don't have to sign up for everything. I mean, if you do, great. But what they like to see even more is consistency. That you played soccer all 4 years of high school. You were in student council all 4 years of high school. They see right through it if it's all of a sudden senior year you join 9 clubs, So I say, doing something consistent. Of course, don't not join something senior year because you don't want it to look bad. I mean, join what you want, do what you want. But also think back to everything you've done since 9th grade. Like, sit with your parents, brainstorm. What have I done? What community service projects have I done? Have I, participated in a club or an activity that maybe it's not on your mind? All those things count. So, sit down, brainstorm, make a list, and plan to put that in your Common App. Next, letters of recommendation. Your guidance council will write a letter of recommendation for all the students. And we ask students to ask at least 1 teacher. Some colleges require 2, but I would say mostly it's 1. So that is required. And next, demonstrated interest. That is, going to the college and doing a tour. If you have a friend that goes to UMass Amherst and you go sleep over for a night, that's not going to show demonstrated interest because they don't know that you're there. So we want you to register for a tour with the college. If you're interested in a school, sign up for their emails, sign up for whatever you can with the college, show that demonstrated interest. Come to the college visits if they're coming to the school, meet with the college rep, meet them next week at the college fair, show that demonstrated interest, sign up, at the college fair they often have things to sign up for, emails or mailing lists. Do it while you're there. If you're looking at a college that's far away, take a virtual visit. All those things count. I always tell students, if they're trying to make a decision between, Joe Smith from Marshfield High School and Joe Smith from Hanover High School who went on a tour, but the one from Marshfield didn't, but they have similar profiles, who are they going to pick? They're going to pick the one with the demonstrated interest. So standardized tests, we kind of talked about this already, to send scores or not. There's a lot of reasons to test. It's hard for me to say that I'm not a fan of the College Board, but there are a lot of reasons to test, including some scholarship opportunities, merit money at the colleges. I do like to point out, if any students here, for example, are taking SATs in October, you have the opportunity to send your colleges to 4. They call it for free, they're lying. You're paying for it in your fee, but you don't have to pay the $12 additional fee that they charge to send your scores. The catch is, usually students want to see their scores before they send them to the college. There's a small window after the test date, so if you get your scores back and you're happy, see if you can log in and send your scores. Try to take advantage of that not having to pay the $12. Next, the types of admission. We talked about a little bit already. There's early decision. So this one's binding. This is an important one. If you select early decision, it's definitely family conversation. If you do that, you have to indicate it in your Common App, and your guidance counselor has to sign off on it. And the reason why is it's binding. So what that means is if you apply early decision, you're saying you want to go to this college so bad that you are willing to do this because it does increase your chances of getting into the school. But if they accept you, they're not going to tell you what you're going to pay. So that it's risky. Usually I tell students if you want to do it, it's because you want to go to the school so bad, but you don't care what it's going to cost. With that being said, there are some colleges, for example, Dartmouth College, for example, if you do ED there, if you have a family that makes up to $125,000, they will meet your financial need completely and you'll pay zero. So if you're interested in, Dartmouth College and your family is in that income range, I would recommend doing it because it does increase your chances of getting in. But if you're in a higher financial bracket, it could be a little bit more of a risk. So again, it's important family discussion. If you're not sure, consult with the guidance counselors as well. We certainly can walk you through that. Restrictive early action is pretty new. I've just started seeing that over the last couple of years. Not a lot of schools have it, but basically it's applying early action, which is not binding. It usually has like an October 15th or November 1st or a December 1st deadline. But they have some restrictions, meaning you can't apply early action to multiple schools, if that makes sense. And actually, I should say that about an early decision too. Early decision, you can only do to one school, and if you get accepted, you have to withdraw your applications to the other school and attend that school, okay? Early action is just applying early. If you're applying to a lot of the southern schools have an October 15th deadline. Around here, it's mostly November 1st or December 1st. What that means is you're applying early and they're not gonna see your first quarter grades. On the transcript, it'll show all the senior classes, but no first quarter grades. So usually we tell students to do that if you are really happy with like your 11th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade, you shine, you feel confident about it. If you had like a junior year and you kind of want to show them, like, let me show you what I'm capable of senior year, I would recommend regular decision. And they typically have like a February 1st, maybe a March 1st, March 15th deadline. January 1st is often common as well. But I do tell students, if you have a February 1st regular decision deadline, don't wait till February to apply. Once those first quarter grades post, like after you get your report card first quarter, to me that's the green light to apply. You can apply to all your colleges, just get them in. They just want to see your first quarter grades, so once it's on there, and I tell students, you don't want to be the last application in, get it off your chest, get it off your shoulders, like don't have to stress about getting it done. That's kind of my advice. Rolling admission, when you apply to a school that's rolling, they usually send acceptance right away, or they'll let you know the status, and they usually have pretty flexible deadlines. You could even apply to some of these schools in June. In regular decision, I mentioned it's just applying by the regular deadline. But again, after those first quarter grades post, it's the green light to send those apps in. So I mentioned the Common App quite a few times. It's one application. You can add multiple colleges on it. You fill out this one application and you can send it to all the schools. At the end, you have to pay for each specific school. I should mention anybody that receives reduced or free lunch or has financial need, they can request a fee waiver as well, which can be quite helpful because applying to schools can be expensive. Oh, do you have a question? Fee waiver?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you put that into Naviance?
Yeah, there'll usually be a place for a code that you can enter. Yep. And I think I talked about this, we already went through with the students how to match their Common App to Naviance. There is that instruction document there for any student that maybe missed it, but they can sit with their guidance counselor and we walk them through. But that's a link right there to a Google Doc that gives all the instructions on how to do that. Requesting transcripts. So once a student fills out their application, they're responsible for sending their application into the colleges, but then they're also responsible for letting us know to send their transcripts and letters of recommendation to their colleges. They have to fill out a form, it's available in guidance, it's on their Canvas page, and that gives us permission to send their personal information to the colleges. Again, pay attention to deadlines. Obviously, we have a big senior class and we have a lot of students applying to colleges and multiple colleges and a lot of paperwork. So we ask students to give us a 2-week notice that they need their stuff sent out. And then for any student that applies early action, once first quarter grades post, they do not have to fill out another transcript request form. They never have to do it again. Once it's in Naviance, we automatically send the transcripts again after first quarter grades post. We send it again after mid-year grades post, and then we'll send it finally to the college that they commit to and that they're attending after they graduate, and they don't have to ask us to do that. That's just something we do. Letters of recommendation, most students have either thought about who they want to write the letter, have already asked them. We do ask that students ask the teacher either in person. A lot of students prefer to email. I think the personal touch is nice. And then they're gonna fill out a guidance counselor recommendation information form, and they're gonna fill out a teacher recommendation form and give those to the teachers. Those are available in guidance, they're on their Canvas page, and it's just information about themselves so the teacher and the guidance counselor can write a fabulous letter. There are parent brag sheets. It's not required, it's optional, so if you'd like to fill one out, have your child print one up off their Canvas page for you. And once the student knows which teacher they want to ask, they just have to also put it in Naviance. What that does is it gives an email to the teacher, so when they log into their Naviance, they can see right there who they need to write letters for and what the deadlines are. And of course, students are always encouraged to write thank you notes. All right, this kind of outlines what the student and family role is, and what the guidance counselor role is. You know, this is all stuff we just kind of talked about. You know, I think most importantly, having those conversations, talking about the finances, figuring out which college is the best match. The student's important job is to keep track of deadlines, which of course Naviance and the Common Application really does that for you. Complete your application and send your application. So again, the student's responsible for the application, and the guidance counselor sends the transcripts and letters of recommendation. They're going to request the transcript with the yellow form I mentioned, and if a student wants to send their SAT scores to the college, they have to do that. They log into College Board, hit send scores. Same thing with ACT, so every college that accepts SAT scores also will accept ACT, so you don't have to send both, you can send one or the other, but the students are responsible for sending those scores. And to send ACT, they just log into their ACT account and hit send scores. The FAFSA is required too, for anybody who's applying for financial aid. And the CSS profile also is another financial aid form. It's from the College Board. It's mainly private schools that require that, but if your child is applying to a private school, you may have to do that as well. And I put a link on here to the Counselor Connection newsletter. I do a senior update in there and always post some important information with upcoming things, dates, meetings, things that we'll be having. So please be sure to read that when that goes out. And I send it out via email, but it's also posted on our website. And as far as the guidance counselor, we'll sit with the kids, we'll help them through their Common App, whatever it is that they need. We can sit with them and do that. All they have to do is sign up for an appointment with us, and we'll meet with them and check in on the Common App, help them with their essay, review it, give opinions. I mean, whatever it is that they need, we're happy to help. All right, next. All right, so getting into financial aid. So the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. That is what parents have to fill out to access that. What we've heard is that it's going to be available December 1st. I don't know if you heard, last year was a little bit of a disaster. It used to be available October 1st, and then it got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and then it took longer to get you know, the financial aid packages in the mail in the springtime. So that was a little tough for families last year. I think it's going to be better this year. So my recommendation is in December when it opens is to do it right away. Financial aid is something that's first come, first serve, so doing it sooner can be a good thing to do. The CSS profile I just mentioned, it's required by a lot of private schools. If you Google CSS profile, you can see literally a link that will give you a whole list of colleges that require the CSS profile, and that's usually due around October or November. MEFA is the Mass Educational Financing Authority. They have a lot of helpful videos, and they offer a lot of support with financial aid, so if you ever need help, you can go to that site. I just put down some information about the net price calculator. It's a site you can go to and kind of put in your financial information and get like an idea of what it'll cost for you to go to college. And the SAI used to be known as the EFC. So when you fill out your financial aid forms, you'll get that, and that's what the government thinks you should pay for your child to go to college. It's always a number you don't love, but that's what they do. So we have, actually, Mr. Carlin, do you want to talk about this one? Yeah.
Hi, everyone, Mr. Carlin. Yeah, so we have there's an organization called Mass Edco. They're out of Brockton, and they can, especially if you haven't been through it before, they can really help you through the financial aid process. They have some workshops coming up. My son just graduated from college. I have twin girls who are going to be juniors in college, and I've used them every single year. You set up, I think they'll either do a Zoom call or a phone call, and they actually walk you right through the whole FAFSA. You actually fill out the FAFSA when you're on the call with the financial aid representative. It was just for me, and I've been doing this for 20 years. It was just kind of gave me peace. you sit down with the person. It literally takes 45 minutes to an hour. Any questions that we had on the FAFSA, again, and I had 3 children in college at the same time, so it was a little stressful. So we did all 3 at the same time. If I had any questions that came up or there's information that we weren't sure about, the rep was very helpful. And then again, it takes only about 45 minutes to an hour. And then at the end of the call, the best part was you actually submit the FAFSA on the phone, with the representative. So you're done, basically. At the end of the call, you've submitted your FAFSA. So you can contact Mass Edco. Again, they'll set up, they're doing the workshops, but they'll set up either a phone call or a Zoom call. And again, I've been doing this a long time. It was just it was nice to get it done in that appointment.
Thank you.
Free, yes, it's a free resource. I forgot to bring that up.
We like free. We like free, yes. All right, so I just included a lot of the links on this site. Like I said, I'm going to be posting this. I'm going to email this to you so you can have all access to these links. I mentioned most of these already. I do want to mention fastweb.com. I know parents are always asking about scholarships. Fastweb is a great place to go to look for national scholarships. And we'll have local scholarships, and we'll go into English classes again, or we'll do an assembly, and we'll talk about the financial aid, the local scholarships that are offered. They are all posted in the Canvas guidance page, and they'll have applications. And obviously the odds of getting a local scholarship are a lot higher than getting one when you do a national scholarship. National scholarships tend to be bigger, but the odds of getting them are a little bit smaller. So it's worth time to look at both, but I can't stress enough doing the local scholarships. I think come January, February, students are like, senioritis starts kicking in, and they're sick of thinking about applications, and there's a little burnout. So really try to push through that, because there's a lot of money that the community raises and is willing to give out. So we certainly hope students take the time and fill out those applications. There's other options. College can be scary and the cost of it. I do want to mention that a lot of times parents are afraid. They get sticker shock when they see what it costs to go to a private college, and they'll tell their kids, I only want you applying to state schools. My recommendation is to do both. Apply to the private, apply to the state schools, because the private schools have more money to give. I've seen many times students going to a private school, Merrimack, Roger Williams, for less than what it costs to go to a state school because of merit money. So just keep that in mind. The Mass Transfer Program is an awesome option. You go to a 2-year college for 2 years, you get your gen eds done, and then you have a 3.0 GPA, you can transfer right to a 4-year school, matriculate right in, go to school for 2 more years, get your bachelor's degree for a fraction of the cost. Tuition Break is a pretty cool program as well, where if you're going to school within New England, and it depends on the major as well, but with certain majors in certain colleges, you can get in-state tuition to go to an out-of-state school. So definitely worth your time if you're applying to schools in Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont, Rhode Island. And Mass Educate, this is rather new. I'm just starting to learn about this. But it's saying that they're going to be offering free tuition at community colleges for Massachusetts students. What I'm learning is it's certain majors. Still, like I said, it's rather new, but certainly this link is worth going to if you're interested in learning more about that. Just some helpful links, as like I said, I'm going to be sending this out. This has links to Naviance, the instructions, Common Up, all things that were in there, but just kind of in one place. That's it. Questions, anybody? Please feel free. Have at us. You guys all in shock? Yes. That's a great question. I don't know if everybody heard that, but she was asking in the scattergrams if you can break it down by major. It's not. It's actually just by the college. That is a great question. I wish there was a way. I think somewhere down the line there will be, but as of now, it's just overall admission to the school.
But if I can just jump on that, we have a pretty good idea. Oh, sorry. We have a pretty good idea of what majors are more competitive at different schools. So if your child isn't sure, obviously like at UMass Amherst is an obvious one. The Eisenberg School of Management is probably their most competitive program. So it's going to be much more difficult to get into that program than say education or psychology at UMass. So we can give you a ballpark idea. So the Scattergram is a good tool, but it's not the only tool.
Yeah, the interview process with colleges. Obviously you have them coming in, and then there's virtual and in person. Are they all the same, or are they separate relative to your connection with the college?
So when we have the reps visit, they're not interviews, just to clarify. It's just an informational session. But it's a point of contact, you know. A lot of times those reps that come to the high school for the college fair and for these visits are the same people that are reading the files. They're covering this area, that's their job. So getting that one-to-one FaceTime definitely helps, absolutely. Did that answer your question? Okay, good. Yeah?
So you mentioned that if students apply early action, you still send out transcripts for the first quarter grades of senior year. Do schools look at those, or if you've already applied early action, are they?
It depends on the school. You know, it depends on the time. Like, so some schools they'll have like an October 15th deadline. So they may look at it without the first quarter grades, or they may say, I want to hold on to this a little bit longer and wait and see what the student's first quarter grades are.
Yeah, and I would say too, just because it's a November 1st deadline, they probably have a lot of applications coming in, so they're probably not, you know, the first term grades may get there in time for them to review it, because they have a lot of applications to review.
All right, well, thank you guys. If you have questions, you can always email us or reach out anytime. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.